So my client, a doctor, making about $500,000 a year, he was making actually pretty good income, right? But behind the scenes, his payroll was a nightmare. Payroll taxes were not properly paid. These penalties kept piling up. Had issues with the Department of Labor, as notices kept on appearing, and also had issues with state compliance. And the crazy part is that he thought everything was handled properly. In this video, I'm actually going to show you exactly what went wrong, how we identify it, and actually how we fix the problem for our client before it even got worse. Because if you own a business and you run payroll incorrectly, this can absolutely happen to you. Hi, my name is Delerme. I'm a CPA, and I'm the founder of Delerme CPA. I help business owners, medical professionals, and high-income entrepreneurs legally reduce their taxes while building the right structure behind their income. Because making money is important, but actually protecting it, building on top of it, and having systems around it is actually what builds wealth. And today I want to talk to you through a real payroll compliance case involving a local tenants physician who normally had major issues happening behind the scenes. So my client is a local tenants doctor. He's a physician. And what that means is that he goes to different places for work. He can go to different clinics, different hospitals, at different states and different cities. And he actually goes where he's needed. So my client is very successful. He's very busy. He's got high income and he's constantly traveling. He operated as an independent contractor to an entity he created, which added both payroll and multi-state tax obligations. And like most doctors, his focus and his energy actually goes to where it needs to go. His patients, his contracts, and his career. Not payroll compliance, not Department of Labor filing, not state withholdings requirements. Therefore, he hired a professional to help him with all the paperwork. Unfortunately, he hired the wrong professional. The setup was completely wrong from the beginning. And this is when the problems start snowballing. The issue was not income. As you guys see, he was making north of $500,000 a year. The issue was actually the structure. And honestly, this is something that I see with high income professionals happen all the time. The money grows faster than the financial systems behind the new business. But since they're new in the business, they don't have the right information or the right context. And eventually cracks start showing. In this case, the payroll taxes were not handled properly. The forms 941 and the forms 940 were not properly filed or paid on time, which triggered cascading issues, IRS penalties, and compliance issues across multiple agencies. The filings were not accurate, the compliance requirements were missed, and penalties started growing quietly in the background. And here's the dangerous part. Payroll taxes is probably one of the most sensitive type of taxes in the US. And the reason for that is because payroll taxes actually funds the trust tax fund of the US government, of the Treasury. And the IRS and the Treasury actually takes this very seriously. So once mistakes start happening, the problems can then escalate fast. So these are some of the mistakes that were made in my client's case. Number one, payroll taxes were not properly paid. Once payroll taxes are not paid or filed on time, penalties and interest are going to begin immediately. And unfortunately, they do not stop. What starts as a manageable issue then quickly becomes something very expensive. Number two, payroll forms were filed incorrectly. So forms 940 and 941 were either inaccurate, late, or not properly handled. And that by itself creates another layer of problems because then you have wrong calculations, you have late filings. So then you have layers of penalties and interest piling on top of each other. And here's the problem. Most business owners do not realize what's happening behind the scenes until tax notices start piling up. Number three, multi-state added more complexity. Remember that my client, the doctor, he travels from city to city, from clinic to clinic, from hospital to hospital, and often cases from state to state. So his issues are not only now in one state, but it could be in two states, not only in one city, but it could also be a multi-city. So then he has issues pertaining to the Department of Labor in different states. He may have Department of Revenue issues in different states. So he has issues not only related to payroll tax with the US Treasury and the IRS, but now he's having issues with Nexus, which is payroll matters in different states, in different cities. Something to be aware when you are managing or dealing with multi-states is like every state has got different rules and regulations, right? So one state may have a requirement that the other state may not have, or one state may have more requirements than the other, right? It definitely creates more difficulty or more complexity to the case. And this is actually when generic payroll solutions do not work. And as I said, number four, Department of Labor compliance became an issue because the problems got bigger. And this is a part that a lot of people overlook. The payroll, as I said before, does not only affect the IRS, it also affects the Department of Labor in the state in which you operate in your business. So now multiple agencies can become involved from one broken payroll system. You see the nightmare this thing can create. And that's when stress levels really start rising, because now you're getting notices not only from the Treasury and the states, but also now you're getting notices from the Department of Labor. So now you can imagine how the stress levels are going to go up. I always tell my clients a piece of information that a lot of professionals miss or do not think about. You may have the best idea, the best tax plan, but if you don't have the right compliance in place, if you don't have the right structure in place that's going to keep you legitimate compliance, then your tax plan or your tax strategy is going to be faulty, right? Because you can be creative and you can find solutions for you to minimize your taxes, but if you're missing compliance, like if you're having issues with the Treasury, if you're having issues with the IRS, if you're having issues with the state or the Department of Labor, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You have the best strategy, but you don't have the basics, which is compliance, in check. Everybody focuses on tax savings, but when the structure behind the business is broken, it always is going to catch up eventually. And when it does, it doesn't just cost you money, but it costs you time, peace of mind, and energy. Because now, instead of putting your attention into what matters in your career, your family, your commitments, now you're putting out fires for the mistakes that somebody else made on your behalf. So mistakes cost money, true, but then peace of mind, time, and energy are paramount. Because then you're losing focus on the track that you're building, on the empire that you're building, on family matters you're taking care of. It becomes a distraction and a waste of time. I would spend dealing with notices, meeting with accountants, fixing errors that should have never happened in the first place. Time that should have gone to patients, family, or growing your business was instead spent cleaning up mistakes. And that's the part that actually drains high-income professionals. Imagine working long hours, hospital shifts, and instead of resting, you're getting IRS notices. That's painful. Do you really want that? That's not where high-income professionals should be spending their energy. Let's be honest here. The mistakes could have been avoided from the beginning. Think about it. There's plenty of software solutions for payroll, from the big ones to the more boutique ones. But the issue is not the payroll itself. The issue is the knowledge, the expertise, the experience, and how you manage the information and how you present the information and how compliant you are with the payroll information. That's what's going to keep you safe without having to waste time and energy and money fixing problems or paying penalties and interest, right? That's what's important. That's what's going to keep you safe, as I said, keep you compliant, save you time and money, so then you can focus on what's important for you. A proper payroll system creates compliance, the right tracking, the detailed reporting, accountability, and also will give you operational clarity. Without the right structure, the problems are going to stay hidden and only are going to appear when they become too expensive. And once a client came to us, we needed to do some damage control for the client. We needed to make sure that we move quickly and swiftly just to make sure that it did not become more expensive, as all the interest and penalties kept on being assessed on the client's account. So here are the steps that we took in order for us to help our clients. Step number one, we overtook the communications with the agencies. So the first thing we did was to get power of attorney to communicate on the client's behalf with the IRS and other agencies. That automatically reduces the stress from the client. And the reason for that is because now he knows that the account or the matters are being handled properly. Now he can put more focus on what's important for him, in this case, his career and his family. Number two, we audited all the payroll records. We went back about 5 or 6 years, and we wanted to make sure that we understood the 940s and 941s. We understood that we needed to take a look at the payroll journal entries, the payments, examine the statement of accounts, just to make sure that we understood what was done, what was filed, what was missing, and what were the errors that were made in those filings. That allowed us to actually find the discrepancies, and then of course to calculate the right figures and the right numbers. Step number three, we corrected all the payroll filings. We took the filings, the old filings, and then we organized the information in a way where we saw the numbers that were filed originally. And then we had another column with the adjustments, and then a third column with the filing numbers. And then we proceeded to file the 940X and the 941X. These are the amended payroll forms that need to be presented with the US Treasury. So all the filings were amended, all the information was calculated correctly and presented with evidence to the US government. Step number four, we build a correct payroll structure for our clients. Remember that our client is a physician and he travels from city to city, from state to state, from hospital to hospital, from clinic to clinic, right? He's got multi-jurisdictions. He's got nexus in more than one city, more than one state. So his case is more complex because he's got different jurisdictions, he's got more agencies. So we built a solution tailored for his needs. So now his payroll and his payroll filings are going to be precise, are going to have the right information, and are going to be filed on time. That by itself is going to give the client operational clarity, meaning now he can focus on his career, taking his income from $500,000 to higher amounts. Why? Because he's got goals for for his business. He's got goals with his family. And now these payroll matters are going to be handled by professionals. In this case, it's going to be handled by our team with a specific solution tailored for his needs. As I said, in this case, we implemented a full payroll compliance solution designed to properly handle all the payroll taxes, all the filings, all the reporting, and ongoing compliance, all the requirements going forward. And now, finally, the business has structure, clarity, so he now can focus on growing his business. The result for our client is not only cleaner payroll, it gives him clarity in his business. That's what matters. The client now has a better payroll system. He's got stronger compliance and definitely better visibility into the business. Of course, less stress and much stronger financial foundation. And now instead of reacting to problems, he's being proactive. Now he knows what the payroll requirements are. Now he understands how complex and how important it is to be on top of it. So he then doesn't have to worry about it. That's what's important, that he's being proactive in his business. So there's no chaos. Now he's in control. And honestly, that's actually how good planning needs to be. You don't want to just be reacting to chaos. What you want is to be in control. If you earn high income, let's say you're a doctor or you are a business owner or an independent contractor, and your payroll system, your payroll setup has never been reviewed by a qualified CPA firm, there might be risks happening behind the scenes that you're not aware of. The payroll affects many different things. The payroll affects taxes, compliance, operations, labor requirements, and overall the business structure. The right setup protects your business. The wrong setup is going to drain your energy, is going to drain money from your bank accounts, and it's going to drain your attention from what's important, which is the progress of your business, the growth of your business, the health of your business, and of course, personal and family matters. At Delerme CPA, we help medical professionals and high-income business owners build smarter tax strategies and stronger financial systems behind their income. If you want a second opinion in your payroll setup, your compliance, your overall taxes, or your business operations, go ahead and fill out a consultation form from below. My team and I will review your information and we'll schedule a call with you. I'm going to be discussing what are the opportunities, what are the solutions that are tailored for your needs going forward. Again, my name is Victor Delerme. I'm a CPA, and I'll see you soon.